morning. It's a lovely day at the plot. It's a bit cold, but it's dry, which is a bonus for Yorkshire. And today I have to do my potatoes. I've already got some first earlies in the ground and in a few pots, but just because I had to get them in, so I did them on St. Patrick's Day. And today I'm getting the rest in. I've been chitting them for a few weeks, so I've got some Stemser here. They've been chitting for a few weeks, and Cara. Is it Cara? Yeah, Cara's my main crop. Now, first of all, I don't know anything about planting potatoes. I've never done it before. This is my first attempt, but I've watched so many videos on how to plant, how to harvest, and the care. So that's where my knowledge is from, and I'm picking out little bits from various ones and putting it all together. And that's what I'm going to try. As I say, first time growing, so this could be a massive failure, but hopefully not. If I follow the advice, it should work. So yeah, so one of the bits of advice I picked up was about the chitting. And you see this has got 3. 1, 2, 3, well it's got a few more actually. 5, 6. So one bit of advice is that you should, if you want bigger spuds, take off, just leave 2, and apparently you're supposed to use a coin to dig it out, so take them off like this, and then I think just scrape down a little bit. Anyway, so that's, I saw somewhere else that you just knock them off, so let's do a few where we scrape it off and a few where we just knock it off, and we'll see which is the best. So Cara is the one that I have main, and I think it's Stemser. Someone bought these for me, so there's just 2, and I'm gonna try them ones. Oh sugar, I think I've just mixed them up. I know that's the Cara. So I'm going for buckets, and there's a few reasons why. I don't really fancy the pests that you can get in the ground, like with the worms, and there's a certain type of worm, I can't remember the name of it, eating through the potato and things, and I don't want to damage them when I'm harvesting them, and I don't really want to be digging out. But the absolute main reason is because I am addicted to potato harvests videos from buckets, and I want to do my own. I just love them. I don't know what it is. It's just like a lucky dip, and I just cannot wait to do that. I think I've got some kind of fetish about it. I could just watch them over and over and over. So yeah, that's the main reason why I'm growing in buckets. There are obviously other benefits, but that's why I'm doing it. You can move them around, easier to move once they're in buckets. And the pest situation, obviously you've got a bit more watering to do, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to put the buckets by my water point anyway. So let's get started. I'll show you what information I've picked up and put together, and it's up to you if you want to do the same or take bits from mine and try it. I'd probably wait until to see if it works first, but you might be waiting a while. So I'll talk you through what I'm going to do. Okay, so these buckets I actually got for free from the abandoned nursery that I told you about, and this one used to have a Victoria plum, so I think they might be a little bit big, but it's free, so it's what I've got to work with, and hopefully if there's the more space there is, the better for my potatoes. So I've put filled a third of it with soil, compost, multi-purpose compost. I'm going to put some wood, fish and bone in for some extra nutrients. This stinks. I don't know how much, so that Looks about right. Mix it up. Give it a nice mix in there. Oh, I'm not kidding, it stinks. And then I got my potatoes, so chits pointing up. Oh, there's only one on that one, but it's fine. The opposite ends of each other. Then I'm going to top this up with soil. So I know this looks like a lot of compost or soil. I've actually mixed some of my homemade compost in with it. It's a lot, but you can reuse it. So once it's done, you know, you can reuse it for something else. Anyway, so after I've done that, we've left a bit of a gap on the top here, and it's advised that you cover in some kind of mulch through the top. So I was going to use grass clippings because I have access to a lot of them, but I haven't got any with me today, so I'm going to do these ones with mulch. It's a very similar thing. I've also got some straw as well. I might do some with some straw. The reason for this, which I think is pretty important, is that it keeps the moisture in. So it'll stop the water from evaporating and the buckets drying out too easily. It keeps them warm in the spring and cool in the summer. So I'm liking this idea. One of the tips that I picked up from a video was to check if you've got enough water by putting your finger in, and if it comes out with soil stuck to it, then you know that it's nice and moist in there, and not too moist. Everything's, make sure you water enough but not too much. So you've just got to go with your common sense, really, I think. So you stick your finger in. If it comes out really, really dry, they need watering. If it's come out with stuck to it, it's probably okay. So I read this in a book that a 10-gallon watering can once a week for a bucket should be enough. And then I think it said once every second or third time to feed with some fertilizer, either at home. I'm going to try and do some nettle fertilizer and some comfrey fertilizer this year, but you can do shop bought ones too, which in fairness I probably will end up doing that every 2 to 3 weeks. These are now going to their final spot. I'm going to put them by the water. It's actually plastic on the ground over there. There's nothing on it, but that was where we're going to put it. But I'm thinking I don't want them sat with water in the bottom either, so I've got some pallets that I don't know what to do with. So I'm going to make a little platform and I'll just put them on top of there, so they'll keep out of the water but they're near to my water. What I mean is they're not sat in water. Just looking at a little robin. So I'm so excited about this. It better work, or I've just wasted a load of potatoes. So your potatoes will take 10 to 16 weeks to grow, depending on which type. So your first earlies will be about 10 weeks. Your second's about 12 weeks, and then your main crop should be about 16 weeks. Now, I did read somewhere that you could leave them an extra 8 weeks for larger potatoes. So I might do a couple of buckets, leave them a little bit longer, see if it makes any difference. I mean, I don't really want to harvest them all at the same time, apart from the fun factor. Practically wise, I don't really want a mountain of potatoes at home. I'd rather just harvest them and then eat them. And another little tip that I am going to do is once the plant starts growing through, it will produce a flower. So I will be removing the flour because it takes a lot of energy to produce that flour, and it makes sense that if you chop that away, then the energy will go back into the spuds. So that makes sense to me. So I'm going to do that. I'll you know, check in on these potatoes through the next few months, and we'll see what's happening. Like I said, I've already got some earlies in the ground, just a row, and I've got 3 little buckets with some in there as well. So they're not doing anything yet, but I might have a look at one and see what it's doing, because I'm very impatient. But I might not, I might just leave them. I've already made some mistakes with my potatoes. As I said, I've never grown them before, didn't know what to expect. When I bought the potatoes, I'd only watched a few videos. But when you buy the potatoes, they come in a huge bag. Well, for me, I thought they were a huge bag. You can go to a pick a mix type potato place, which I think would be really fun, but I didn't get the opportunity to do that. Your local area might hold a potato day, and then you can go around with your little bag and just, oh, I'll have 2 of them and 3 of them, and you know, that's fun. But yeah, so I got this great big bag, and I made a mistake. So these potatoes started going a little bit mouldy and a little bit squishy, and I was under the impression that that's why they give you so many, because it's normal for some of them to go over a little bit. So that's what I thought. But it turned out, after a bit more research, I mean, I still had plenty, so I wasn't bothered. But it turned out, after a bit of research, that they'd been in my car for a couple of days, and I'd bought them. I'm sure I bought them in January maybe, because I was dead eager. And I think some of them froze overnight. So, one tip: don't store them anywhere where they can get frozen, because they'll turn to mush, they'll smell like death, and you'll just lose them. So yeah, that's a mistake I made, but stupid me over here thought that's why they give you loads of them, because that's normal. Yeah, it's not normal. So last job is to label. I will obviously forget whether the main, whether the second. I've got a couple of seconds to do. Yeah, so there we go. Thanks.